Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to Elio Wave Cafe. I'm Chris. Let's take a look at the market. It's a new week. We've had a little bit of a correction in crypto and in the equities, for the past week, but they have recovered quite nicely in here. And let's see if we can try to make new all-time highs. So the S&P 500 is trading at about 6660 after it had a pretty nice reaction of this 20-day moving average that we were watching, and it kind of got bought with closes towards the top of this candle today. It was a little bit of an attempt of a rally, but then we closed back in the middle. Nothing really has changed. I'm watching, the low of this candle. If we're going to take this down, I think, we're going to have and especially if you're going to have a daily close below this level, I think we're going to have a change in trend. It could be, what it is, an ABC, but if we're going to drop below that, that's kind of what we're going to have to watch in case the market reverses from here and then it goes back up to the upside. So it's very, very important what happens to this leg. I'm also going to watch what happens if we are moving and pushing towards new all-time highs, how the market reacts, if it's strong, if it's volume, if it stays up there for a couple of days, how long it goes above it. So these are all things that I'm watching to see if the trend continues. For right now, if anything, I've pressed a little bit the acceleration on some of the stuff that I own, and I've added a few other names. So I'm not really playing defensive at the moment, but I'm ready to do so as soon as the market shows me. Since we haven't really dropped below the swing low, we kept above the 20-day moving average, there wasn't really a whole lot that needed to be done. And it's a similar story in the Nasdaq. You can see 3-day sell-off into the 20-day, a nice reaction upwards with the bullish move. And then we're trying to kind of turn back. The equal weighted QQQ, if you watch that, that's already making a new all-time high. So I think the markets are fine. There is a lot of stocks that are still breaking up and looking great. One thing I wanted to show you is in terms of some of the bearishness that we used to have, that kind of got just a little bit eliminated. We just slightly got some bulls last week, which was kind of the first time we've gotten this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost in like 2 months. But they're barely bullish. So really, you can say that the market has gotten more neutral. There is really not a lot there in terms of anything extreme. And I would look at this more as a positive sign. I mean, to kind of start to have a termination in the trend, I would think from previous instances that you would want to see a lot more bullishness out there, and so far that's not the case. Then you look at the fear and greed index, and this one, it's been in the greed territory. It's kind of pulled back towards neutral. So the markets have kind of reset in here, and we'll see if they can kind of start to accelerate. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin and what's going on in there. So the spot has been reacting nicely, and I'll take a look at the wave counts from 108,660 roughly. So we never made a new low below this 107,250, which is I think an important sign in here. And now we're coming back and trying to get back above these moving averages. So again, signals are starting to come in that a bullish outlook can be kind of head once again. We were watching this particular candle that never really closed above there. That was last week, and we failed. And now we're coming back and overtaking the high of this candle. So that's positive. We can close here. I think, I would take that as the first signal to get on the bullish side, and then, open up small positions, test the market. And then if we're going to continuing to go, then continuing to add. And then eventually, if we do break above 118, in strong volume and good move, then we can probably going to be on the way to further upside. XRP has done a similar thing. It really hasn't broken below this key zone back here, and it kind of turned, but it needs to do a little bit more work. So you got to get back above 3 before I would start to get interested in XRP. Same story, get above 3 first, then get above 314, and then you'll have a lot of my interest. Ethereum has been hit a bit harder, I think, but it is part of that fourth wave. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look. And I'm gonna wait until Ethereum gets back at least about 4,400 in here before I kind of start to get excited about it. Taking a look at the wave counts in here in terms of Bitcoin. So we're watching for a termination of this wave 2 and see if we can start to move higher in the larger wave 3. And here we are. We had an A. We thought that we might have a B with a continuation in a wave C. Rarely you would see a wave C that would terminate above the wave A low. This move in here, it does look like it's a 5-wave move, so we'll see if we're going to fail back here and start to say, okay, that's an A, that's a B, and then you start to go, in another move lower in here, maybe like a complex move in an ABC, then we would have to change this lag to an ABC. But if that happens, we're gonna just have to deal with it. It's just that again, for me, the wave counts are important, but more important, it is kind of what happens to the price, right? So going back to Bitcoin, like I said, what happens right here? Do we get rejected? Do we start to get back below the low of today? We're starting to kind of get volume back on the sell side, and then we know it's probably going to be a failure, just like this one was so far, that it's not the case. And I kind of like the way this is setting up, and the longer we stay above this particular level right here, the better it is, like 114 13, more or less. So get back up there, get back above this trend line, and let's see if we can go. And then sometimes I do alternate wave counts, as you know. Like, you can have basically a wave one here, like we've talked about before, right? This wave two changes back there, so this becomes a wave two, this becomes a wave one, and then this becomes a wave two down here. It is a kind of an impulsive, but I've seen plenty of instances of impulsive looking waves that are actually corrective waves, sharp down, and then you continue to go. So I'm not going to tell the market what to do. I'm not going to have it boxed into my wave count in here, and I'm not pretending to be right all the time. I'm just kind of following along, setting my labels, knowing the levels, and then following along with the market. So for right now, it really kept me out of trouble. And right now it's telling me, hey, get interested in here, start to possibly, in here, start to initiate. Let's see how we close later today. Small positions, and then for anybody that wants to be a bit on the safer side, if there's such a thing, wait until this trend line gets taken out, wait until this B wave gets taken out by at least a day or two with closes above it, and then that's a much stronger, let's say, signal that we can start to move back to the upside. So that is Bitcoin, and Ethereum. You already know, if you've been watching last week, we were watching the bottom of this channel. That's a bit subjective in here. Kind of how you connect these things, sometimes by the close, sometimes by the lows, but it is, it does look like a nice three-wave move from this high to this low, and we're starting to kind of get back above this important support. The fact that we failed back here, below this low, and we didn't have a continuation, I think that's important. The fact that the market reacts higher, but like I said, I'm going to watch those moving averages and see if we can get back above those close, and then on and upwards we go. And if we get back above 47.67, that's even a stronger signal that we can move, upwards of 5,000, maybe towards 6,000 and on. And then let's take a quick look at the last one here, XRP, and loading up. Yeah, I'm still fine with this. I don't know if we made a new low in here. If we did, let me go back to it. It doesn't look like we did, but if we did, we're probably gonna have to do some kind of a complex move and make this into a Z wave. So WXYXZ, and then start to treat this as an impulse. But you can see, this is what's important, right? You have lower highs, and they have to get taken out. It's just the basic definition of downtrends and reversal to an uptrend, that the previous swing highs, they have to be taken out. So 299.7, as long as that level still stays, we're still in this temporary downtrend in here, as just like 270 was. So let's see if we can get back above this level, above the trend line, and again, then I would be interested to see further upside in XRP. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Any questions? Listen, just put them in the comments. If you want me to look at anything else, or if you have any other suggestions, what have you, hit that like button if you want. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.